Hello, everyone. This is Beatrice with Purposely Empowered, and I am very excited that you joined me here for tonight's webinar. We are going to be covering a free safety analysis for you and your family. So I am super excited that you're taking the time to join me and learn a little bit more about what Purposely Empowered is doing and how we're helping our listeners, our audience, keeping you all safe and protected, but mainly empowering you daily. So we're going to cover three main topics. The first one, of course, would be child safety. We're going to talk about, the elements that you're doing, the elements that you should be doing with your child daily that will help empower them and give them a survival mentality. We are going to reveal some of FBI records about our children today, what those records reveal. We will be covering situational awareness. What are you doing daily that exposes you or leaves you vulnerable to an attack or leaves you at risk for some kind of crime or crisis? And number three, we're going to talk about everyday carry. We are not talking about concealed weapons or any of that, which, is still a good thing to think about, but we're talking about everyday things that you have with you that will ultimately help you in a crisis, an attack, or, just overall help you survive. So that's what we have to offer tonight. And I want to stop and tell you a little bit about myself, about Purposely Empowered. I'm the CEO and founder of Purposely Empowered, and I do have about 8 years experience in law enforcement. My experience in law enforcement pertains to uniform patrol, answering calls for service, but a lot of it, I did specialize in sexual assaults involving women, children, any domestic related abuse, child abuse, child neglect, anything like that, crimes against women and children, which is my biggest passion. And one thing that I noticed in law enforcement is, of course, that, although we're called first responders, we're not the first ones that are there on scene with you. When a crisis happens, when you're attacked, when you're involved in a car accident even, you're the first line of defense. You're your first help. And I noticed that a lot of people were not educated enough, were not prepared enough, and were just not trained to handle themselves in a crisis, and therefore made the situation worse. Or if there was an attack, a stabbing, or shooting, or even an accident where there's a life-threatening wound on scene, most people were just letting their loved ones or themselves die before paramedics or medics, and law enforcement arrived. And unfortunately, although as a police officer, it was very painful to see, but it was out of our control. These lives are being lost between the crucial time that it takes between a police officer to get to you or a law enforcement or a ambulance to get to you is crucial. And if you're not prepared, then you're really just exposing your lives and just, putting your family in danger, putting your life in danger because you're not prepared. So that's what Purposely Empowered is here for, to give you this knowledge and the tools that you need to be prepared and to function properly and effectively in a crisis or an attack. So that's what we're here for, and we're super excited to bring this information to you and, just have you all here with us and learning. We're really just throwing these value bombs to you right now that are free, and we're excited to share a little bit of what's coming with and through Purposely Empowered. So let's get started. Let's begin with our content. So we have, like I mentioned, we're going to talk about child safety, and I'm going to start with the FBI records, something that I learned when I specialized in crimes with women and children. I read many FBI studies and FBI reports that interviewed surviving victims, right, which is children between the ages of 5 and preteens or after or teenager age. They survived a lot of victims of abductions or people or victims who were held hostage in a certain situation. And the number one answer that FBI records indicate is that when they were asked, when the children were asked, did you know you were going to return back home? Did you expect to see your parents again? The number one answer for all of the surviving children were that they did expect to see their parents again, and they did expect to come back home. And what that told professionals in law enforcement in general was that in order to survive, the key element for every child to have in any kind of crisis is the willpower, the mentality of survival. And that is extremely important. And unfortunately, a lot of the victims who were deceased in these situations, most likely did not have a strong will mentality to survive. And it comes, guys, it really comes from us, from the parents. So here are some tips that you can be doing with your children every single day. Number one is super important. It is really, really something that I do with my family. I do not baby my children. So if you're babying your children, when I say babying, I'm talking about you're doing things for them. I've once met a child who could not get dressed, and that child was like 7 years old. She could not put her own t-shirt on or pants on. She expected me to do it when I was taking care of her. And I thought that was very extreme. So that's what I'm talking about. Just simple things like that. Let them be independent. Do not baby your children. Do not spoon feed them. We are living in a generation where we have too many people who are already entitled and already expect everything to be handed to them. Where before it was honorable and it was looked good upon to be strong and to work hard for what you have. And so we really need to go back to that. You can't, don't fix something that's not broken, right? And don't make a child that's defenseless, that is not going to have that willpower to survive. So although you think you're helping your child, if you're babying them, you're really not. You really need to push them to try new things, which is number two. Push them to try new things, whether they're scared, whether they're insecure about it. Push them to do it, because that's going to expose them to new things, and it's going to help their mind get prepared for a shift change, right? So in any crisis, like a bad car accident where possibly you as a parent is deceased, how are they going to act? How are they going to respond? Are they really going to just shut down and just not do anything? Or are they going to take charge and handle themselves as best as possible? So like I said, number one, do not baby your children. Number two, just push them to try new things. It is very important. And of course, if you can get them into some kind of martial arts training or anything like that, and anything that's empowering, that would be ideal. Just give them some room to grow and be strong, and give them allow them to have some confidence in themselves. And another key point would be to give them words of affirmation. Just if you tell them one nice thing every day, like, oh, thank you for this, I value your hard work, I value your support, I value that you said this nice thing about me, or thank you for just being awesome. So, just words of affirmation. And I'm going to go ahead and move on to our next topic, which is situational awareness. We're going to be talking about what you're doing on a daily that puts you or your family at risk, something that leaves you vulnerable or exposed. And guys, unfortunately, we do it every day. We are in a technology society, right? You're stuck in your phone. But we're doing more than that. Even if you're not walking around with your head in the phone, here are some tips that will really help you just be more in tune with your surroundings. Number one, anytime you're out of your home, out of your element, you need to be aware of your surroundings. So, for example, when I go to the grocery store and I, drive, pull up into the parking lot, I'm just scanning around just to see, first of all, where to park, where's the best place to park, right? But I'm also scanning around to see if I see anybody that maybe just sticks out like a sore thumb. Maybe they're standing in the corner, they're standing by a tree, or they're just looking around, looking at the cars, looking at the people. That would really raise some red flags for me. And guys, when you proceed to walk into a building, a restaurant, my number one thing that I do is I scan the area. I mean, it's very simple things that we don't think about doing. So I scan the area. I look for those things, those red flags that are going to stick out. So if it's 100 degrees outside and I walk into a restaurant and the first thing I see, or one thing I see in the corner of my eye, is this guy with the trench coat, and he is sweating profusely, but he is, not taking that trench coat off and just standing there, I'm definitely going to look into that, and I'm going to then pursue something else. I'm going to completely focus my attention to that person, and I'm going to see what they're doing. Are they shaking? Are they scanning the area themselves? Because I'm telling you guys, if someone's ready to attack, they're going to be prepared. So you need to be prepared also. Scanning the area. If they're scanning the area, they're looking for the victim. They're looking for an opportunity. And so that's why it's so important for you to look for your opportunities as well. If they have their hands over to one side and they're holding, almost like they're holding a baby, you don't want to drop it. So they will be doing the same. If they're armed, they're going to be holding that baby, which would be their weapon, right? So they're going to be concealing it over to one side, depending on, they're right-handed, left-handed, or what kind of weapon they're holding. I mean, there's a huge lump underneath their clothing. I mean, that's a huge red flag. But see, we don't notice that. A lot of people just walk around about their business, and you don't notice that the danger is right beside you. And that is, huge. You're really exposing yourself, especially if you're a woman, you have children. I mean, I often go out by myself with my girls. I try not to, of course. But if I do, I feel the most vulnerable. And that is when I'm the most aware of my surroundings. And another key point that I want you to take in consideration when it comes to situational awareness is when you walk into a location, you scan the area, and you see something that sticks out, be proactive about it. Keep an eye on that person. If you really think something's going on and people's lives are in danger, or even the business is about to be robbed or whatever, contact somebody. Let somebody know. The more people with you, the more power you have against that person. And the last thing, know where your exits are. I know a lot of the times you can go to a restaurant and it can get busy and it can get crowded, and you just have no choice but to sit wherever it is available. I understand that, but know where your exits are, and if preferably sit by an exit, especially if you're already dining and then somebody walks in and tries to rob the place, or it turns into an active shooter situation, that you want to be able to know where your exit is, because I'm telling you, when you're in a crisis, you're not going to see your surroundings at that point. You become tunnel vision, and it's so, you're just going to be thrown out of your element, and you're going to panic most likely. But that's why it's very important to keep in mind where your exits are beforehand, so that you just know where to run, where to go to. And so we cover all of this during our seminars, which we'll talk about in just a minute. And I'm gonna go ahead and turn this over to Theodore Hupdyk, Ted Hupdyk. He is, you know what? I'm gonna brag about him for a little bit. He is literally, if you need help with weapons or anything like that, especially firearms, of course, he is your guy. I mean, he is the guy who makes everything look easy. So I'm gonna turn it over to him, and you all can. He can cover our last topic.
All right, can you hear me? Is it good? Turn your volume down. All right, hi guys. I'm going to talk about everyday carry. Like my wife Beatrice mentioned, my name is Ted Hupdyk. I also have law enforcement experience, about 8 years. I do like to specialize in firearms and that sort of thing and topic. I'm going to get cut to the chase. Everyday carry. Most people that have heard the term tend to think immediately about carrying a firearm. Well, I'm going to expand on that today and go beyond just the firearm. A lot of people don't think about everything else that goes with everyday carry. Everyday carry is a system. It's like, you can think of it as your own personal kit that you go out with every day, everywhere you go. And I'm first going to talk about things that you should keep on your person. And we're normally or usually focusing on women here at Purposely Empowered. So you guys have a little bit easier than men. You guys get to carry a purse, which is essentially a little satchel. You can carry more things and get away with it. Men typically have to keep everything within their pockets, and God help the guys that wear jeans, because you only have a few pockets and they're not very deep. So for women, things you should keep on your person, or you probably already have some of these, or at least you should. A cell phone. The number one thing is communication. How are you going to call for help if you need help? You're going to use the cell phone. This is a great technology that didn't exist 20 years ago. Now you have it. You can call 911 even if you don't have service. Your phone turns on. 911 is free. Another thing that you may or may not have, and if you don't, you will probably strongly want to consider getting one, is some sort of cutting instrument. I'm not talking about scissors. I'm talking about a knife, a multi-tool, a Swiss Army knife, something that comes with a cutting edge. And the multi-tools and Swiss Army knives are great because they come with even more tools in there: screwdrivers, bottle openers, files, things that can be incredibly useful. But a cutting instrument is invaluable, especially when it comes to crisis situations or survival situations. Anything there's limitless uses for a cutting tool. The next thing you're going to want to consider, and hopefully some of you actually already have this, is a flashlight. I'm not talking about the flashlight app on a cell phone. That doesn't count. Yes, it's useful, but it's not right there when you need it. You have to go and swipe through your phone looking for the app to turn it on. Even if you have it right there, it may not be very fast. Think about anywhere that you may go: department store, a school, somebody's house. What if the power goes out there? It may have windows, but are you going to be able to see down every single hallway or every single crack and corner? Are you going to be able to get out of there easily without some sort of illumination? Another item you may want to consider carrying with you, and there's probably some of us that do for the smokers, is a lighter. Lighters are not just affiliated with smoking. A lighter can also provide illumination in a pinch. If your flashlight goes dead, you forget to have your flashlight. A lighter can provide that. It may be close, it may not be dim, but it's better than nothing, especially if you're in a pitch black environment. Now, for the women that are here watching this, and hopefully there are plenty of you, some items you may already have in your purse that you may not have considered as being a survival item or everyday carry item are pads and tampons. Think about what pads and tampons do. What do they do? I'll give you a minute. They soak up blood. What is soaking up blood good for? They're good for wounds. They're essentially bandages. And quite frankly, other companies make things, especially like maxi pads, that cost way more than maxi pads do. And it's like putting the Nike swoosh on something, or putting wedding or baby on top of something. Oh, the price skyrockets. You put trauma or a crisis kit on this essentially a maxi pad is all that it is. It just isn't packaged in the nice little pink flowery stuff, but it's the same thing. It is a lot more expensive. I have a maxi pad in my patrol car, believe it or not. It's great for soaking up blood, especially a large amount of blood. You probably have a few of those on you. A tampon, if you go to our Purposely Empowered seminar, you'll learn more about the use of a tampon, but think of it, a gunshot wound or a penetrating wound of any kind, stab wound, an accident where you get impaled, a tampon is a perfect size for plugging an impale wound, a hole. All right, now I'm going to go on to another thing you may not have considered when it comes to everyday carry. Most people think everyday carry is just their own person. What do I take with me whenever I go out somewhere? What about the vessel you use to get to wherever it is you're going? Do you bicycle everywhere? Do you walk everywhere? Are you on a Segway? Most of us take a car or a SUV, a vehicle. What do you have in your car? Your car goes with you. That's an extension of your everyday carry. There are certain things you may or may not already have in your car, and if you don't, there's other things that you may want to consider getting if you're already adequately prepared. I'm going to go over the basic items that you should have in your vehicle, because everywhere we go, our vehicle's there. We go out to a friend's house, we go out to shopping, we go out to the grocery store, we go out to the school event, sporting event. The car's in the parking lot. That's kind of like your portable base, if you will. If you really need to get something, you're going to go run back to your car. So, number one thing you should have in your car is a basic first aid kit. I'm not talking like, a trauma pack like medics carry. I'm talking just the basic one you can go to Walmart, Target, and buy. They come with a lot of useful items that you can use for everyday, minor injuries, and some have better items in them that you can use for larger injuries. A lot of the times I like to look for ones that come with the insulation blanket, the little silver blanket that looks like tin foil. Believe it or not, bleeding or massive trauma wounds can lead to hypothermia, even on the hottest of days. You lie someone down on a cold floor, a hard surface, their body temperature is going to drop, and it doesn't take that much for them to start experiencing hypothermia. Another thing you should have in your car is a cell phone charger for your sole avenue of communication, especially if you're a single mom or just a mom out and about with her kids. You're the only one that has the cell phone in most cases. You're going to want to make sure you have a power source for that. Even if your battery's low, you can run back to the car and you can hook it up and start to use it. Another thing you're going to have is another flashlight. Yes, and extra batteries for your flashlights. There's so many different flashlights out today. It's easy to find great ones. They're not the old-fashioned ones with incandescent bulbs that are very, very dim and the batteries last 20 minutes. They're LEDs. They're very bright. Make sure you have another one in your car. Make sure you have extra batteries. Remember, with flashlights, I'd like you to remember this phrase: 2 is 1, 1 is none. So another basic item you should have in your your car is a bag. I kind of gave it away. Why would you want a bag? Because let's say you're stuck somewhere in your vehicle. You can't drive it around anymore. You have to get out. You have to abandon your vehicle. It's an emergency situation, what have you, terrorist attack, inclement weather, hurricanes, things of that nature, fire, and you can't drive anymore. The roads are impassable. Your vehicle's disabled, what have you. All those survival items you have, I know, ladies, you carry purses, but you may not want to try and stuff everything inside of your purse, because I know not all of your purses are the same size. Some like to carry smaller ones. Some like carry bigger ones, like my wife. But you're going to want to have some sort of backpack. I recommend a backpack because you can distribute the weight on your shoulders and not stick another item on, over one shoulder, or having to be carrying it in your hand. You can strap it on your back and your hands are free. And if you have to abandon your vehicle, pack all your supplies, you can stick them in that bag. Okay, so now I went over the basic items. The next items are going to be ones that you should consider carrying if you don't already have them inside of your vehicle. These are, beyond the basics. These are for people that really want to make sure they're more prepared than average. So, especially if you're out with your kids, you're going to want to make sure your vehicle is stocked with snacks. Snacks that last a long time, that that aren't going to go bad, that don't need to be refrigerated or anything like that. Just make sure you have some snacks in your vehicle. Just set them aside, and try not to eat them, and bring other snacks when you're planning on eating them. And then remember to replace them and watch those expiration dates. The other thing you're going to want to consider taking is water. Water is essential. We take water for granted. If we get stuck in a scenario, inclement weather, terrorist attack, for example, and we can't get water, and we're going to be away from a source, we're going to want to at least have some with us. There's bottled water everywhere. Some of you probably already have water in your car. Another thing you're going to want to consider is, yes, another lighter, and possibly matches if you don't want to have a lighter. They can start fires, they can cook things, they can provide illumination, and they can even work as a signaling device to call for help should your cell phone be out or there's no cellular service. Another thing you're going to want to consider is rope or cordage of some sort. 550 cord for the military folks, or if anyone else wants to know what that is, the parachute cord that's available just about anywhere. It's very inexpensive. It's very durable. It's very useful. Also, another item is duct tape. I'm just going to leave it at that. You can do a million things with duct tape. Have duct tape with you. Another item or items is extra sets of clothes for yourself, and especially if you're out with your children, for them as well. Just at least one set for each of them, and including yourself. So in case your clothes get damaged or they become soaked with water, you at least have a spare. And finally, something very basic, which some of you may already have or not thought about using, or as an emergency item, is towels. Basic towels. You should have a few of them in your car, at least one. And you can use a towel as a blanket. You can use a towel to cover a wound. You can use a towel to dry off. Lots of uses for towels. So I'm going to stop there, and it's a very relatively basic list of everyday carry items that you should consider carrying. I'm going to turn everything over back to my wife. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ted. Thank you for that. So we are going to go into Q&A later. And if you are not on here live, then you are most welcome to send us your questions via email, contact us through our website. You can contact me under Beatrice Huptick on Facebook, or Twitter, or actually Twitter, it's BeEmpower, BE_empower. And my Instagram is Purposely Empowered, and so is my Facebook official company page. I want to share with you all information regarding our upcoming seminar. This will be Purposely Empowered's opening seminar, right? It is so amazing. I'm so excited, you all, to share with you all what we have to offer you and how we will literally transform. Our idea is to transform our nation, to have empowered women, to have you all walking around with confidence. It brings me to your next topic, because our seminar is going to be October 8th from 9 to 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. It will be hosted at Fort Magruder Inn in Williamsburg, Virginia. contact us for more information or how you can get your tickets. Reserve your seat now. We are going to have limited seating, so please jump on board. But I want to share with you what to expect when you come to a Purposely Empowered seminar. This first one's been named Living Confident, because like I said, that's our main purpose, is to have you all be confident, not scared, empowered. So we want to empower every single day, and that's what we're doing. So Living Confident is going to be a 4-hour seminar put on by us. And I want to just share with you all a little bit of what we are and what we're here for. Of course, that we're here to empower, but the whole idea behind this was because we're at the point where we're living in a time where it's no longer what if, I'm attacked, or what if I find myself in a crisis, or, it is when it's going to happen near you, around you. And, guys, I'm saying no to being victimized, and I'm saying yes to becoming confident, becoming empowered, and being my own help. I don't want to wait for someone else to come and help me. I want to be my own help. And if you're with me, then this is a seminar for you. So what to expect? Really, guys, our seminars are going to be like no other. It's not a sit-down lecture where you bore you to death with information. Absolutely not. Our seminars are going to be about an experience. You're going to come and you're going to have an experience of a lifetime that you will not be able to forget. And you're going to leave confident and empowered to just take anything on and just, forget about fear, and just be confident to take whatever comes our way head on, and just know that you are more capable and have increased chances of survival. So we will start our seminar with a visualization exercise. If you've never done or been a part of a visualization exercise, it is extremely empowering. We literally take you and put you in a situation. Your mind and your body, your heart is with us, and it's an experience like no other. So we are going to start powerful. We're going to start with a boom automatically. Then we're going to move on to going into more in depth of situational awareness, a little bit of what I shared, but in depth with videos, instructions. It's going to be interactive. So just be prepared for that experience. We will teach you how to depict deceptive behavior, like what I talked about earlier. If you see something that just sticks out like a sore thumb, you're going to target that, and you're going to analyze that person or that situation to determine whether you need to back away or you need to act upon it. So we are going to help you depict these deceptive behaviors that are so important for your safety, for your survival. And then we will be covering trauma training. Ted covered a little bit about simple things that a maxi pad can do or a tampon can do, and people don't really realize this or consider this. And like you said, these companies are out there selling these items for a ridiculous amount of money, but we will be able to train you and show you how to apply these items to an open wound or a life-threatening injury, so that you can come out on top and you can treat your children with also. And we will wrap everything up with a tourniquet application training. The trauma training and the tourniquet application training will be presented to you by a combat medic in the Marines. He is super experienced. He's been in the field. He has done it with his own hands. And we are so excited to have him with us and be a part of Purposely Empowered. Guys, the stories this guy's going to share with you, he's literally going to put you there on the scene, and he is going to show you how you can apply a tourniquet, when it is applicable, what to recognize, what kind of, recognizing an injury that would need a tourniquet, where to apply it, how to apply it, and you guys, how to become more empowered, more confident, safe, and just come out on top, guys. This is really what Purposely Empowered is here for. We will also provide you with a tourniquet to take home, so that hopefully over the years, over time, that every other person has a tourniquet on their person. If anything were to happen, a car accident, any kind of life-threatening injury, you are there. Even if for whatever reason you forget or you panic, give that tourniquet to somebody else that is there present to apply it to that person or to yourself. And you will also be fed. You will have a continental breakfast with drinks, snacks, etc. available to you at our seminars. So super excited, you guys. If you are interested, we do have tickets on eventbrite.com, BRTE, and I will be attaching a link to them on our website, www.purposelyempowered.com. If you have questions, feel free to email myself at purposelyempowered@gmail.com. And I thank you for your time, and I'm very honored to be able to provide you with this life-saving information. I hope that you took some notes, or when you do watch this, for those of you who aren't live, that you were able to take notes at a later time. So guys, if you need any questions, if you have anything else that you want to ask or want to add, please reach me. I will do my best to respond as soon as possible. I have no problem with giving free tips to help empower you now. And I look forward to actually seeing many of you during our seminar. Okay, guys. Well, you guys have a good night, and it's been a pleasure. Have a good one. Stay safe.